looking at the second figure in Wave 2 of Mattel's DC Kids line action figures, and boy, this is a bit of a freaky one. We have the Jokerized Batman. If you asked me before to see a Batman looking like Joker, it seemed like a bit of a cheap way of creating more Batman variants to sell to kids who don't know any better. And guess what? I'm not falling for it. Like, why would toy companies put out such a horrible looking Batman? It makes no sense, and honestly, I'm not going to buy this Batman. I mean, I have covered enough variants already in my previous videos on this channel, by the way, which you can also check out on my channel and subscribe for more videos that are going to be coming in the future. So why are we looking at this one now, and what makes it so special? If the 7-year-old me saw this on the shelf, I think I'd just be staring at it confused. Batman's wearing purple? Why is he grinning like that? Actually, what's wrong with this action figure? And that's exactly the point. Truth is, back then, Batman and Joker were simple. Hero, villain, lines drawn, never crossed. But the stories that we've grown up alongside with now in this day and age, we've come to find that Joker has grown in his intensity of finding more hideous and mind-boggling ways of getting under Batman's skin. Like, it wasn't as if Bruce didn't have enough childhood trauma to deal with already. The Joker is aware of Batman's virtues and always poking at him, and that relationship has created such a great chemistry over the years. When you give context as to why this type of Batman exists, then things begin to make a lot more sense. The clearest ancestor of this look is the Batman Who Laughs, the Dark Knight, Mattel villain, who's basically what happens if Joker gasses Batman and lets the Bruce Wayne inside him rot. Same purple and green, same permanent grin, but underneath still all that discipline, still all that genius, just aimed the wrong way. So yeah, the 7-year-old me would have been baffled by this. But this version? This is the Batman it took me years and a handful of genuinely mind-bending comics to actually get. Let's take a quick look at the packaging before we move on to the figure. You have an insanely scary looking Jokerized Batman with a menacing grin mid-action. As always, the artwork never disappoints, especially with such vibrant colours. You can also see DC Comics logo displayed prominently above. Below we see Jokerized Batman name displayed with the Mattel logo. We also see a nice illustration of Batman in amongst other graphics. The illustrative work continues along the side as we see the classic Batman logo. We also see Joker's haha spray painted over, which is a nice touch. On the back you get to see the rest of the figures available in this wave. Of course we have Jokerized Batman himself. We have Superman, who we looked at in the previous video, for which you can find the link in the description. We also have John Stewart Green Lantern, along with Stealth Suit Batman. Jokerized Batman looks fantastic and ready to go as he poses with his weapons, which would be the accessories that comes along with this figure. And there he is. Out of the plastic and lighting this dark character, this figure looks like evil personified. He can easily come across like a horror movie character as much as a villain. That's how scary he looks. Though essentially we are getting a variant of the Batman figure, the paint and design essentially gives an entirely different figure. He has a very menacing and unsettling overall presence, which is exactly what this character is designed to do. The tattered cape, green bat symbol shows Joker's influence all over and adds this sense of chaos and anarchy, which I love. He's looking very evil, very nice. We can see the figure comes with a skew of accessories, which do look essentially the same as what we've seen before, but we can take a look at these closer later on. Even if you had a hint of suspicion that that smile was somewhat playful, then by looking up closer you'll realize it's anything but that. The smile looks very evil and very sinister. I'm assuming this is an entirely new head sculpt because the brows seem different to the usual Batman head sculpts. The eyes are in fact green and not white, which brings that Joker influence, which is a really nice touch. But for me, it has to be all about that smile. It's the best part of the head scan. It looks very well detailed, and that bit of reflective shine from the teeth makes it very realistically eerie. For as close as I can see, I don't think there's any paint spillover onto the teeth, but even if it does, it lends into the character. The cape, which is made from tricot fabric, alone gives him presence. It's heavy, it drapes properly, it swallows the light rather than catching it. The torn look at the bottom adds layers of personality to the figure. What I think this sculpt actually nails is the moment. This Batman hasn't fully yet turned into the new villain, but it captures the instant the infection takes hold. It would have been good to see a slimmer frame on this Batman rather than the muscular body, because it would have actually looked better, but of course Mattel is keeping the same tooling. The body is still Batman, the suit is still Batman, but you can see Joker's toxin is slowly spreading in those stitched green lines around Batman's body. Moving on to the articulation, the head can turn to the right, to the left, moves down and up. But I do hope with the collector's edition we do get more pivot to the up, because there really isn't much here to play with. The arm comfortably reaches 90 degrees. Looking good there. Single jointed elbow performing well with the bend and rotation. The wrist also doing a good job as well. And it all comes together to make Jokerized Batman become Italian. Just like Jim, legs is my favourite part of the body. The ball joint brings great movement forward. Looking so good there. As it does to the side. Double jointed knees working excellently. You also have your thigh cut there as well. But unfortunately not much else, but hey, this is a kids line action figure. Very similar to many of the other Batman figures, we're getting the same range of accessories and weapons, with the added twist of them being glow in the dark, which is very cool. We're getting 5 batarangs, 2 sets of handcuffs, a spiked boxing glove, 3 small canisters of kryptonite infused Joker venom, and finally we're getting a kryptonite time bomb which is labelled Kryptonian repellent, which legitimately made me chuckle. I can only imagine the reason why Jokerized Batman has weapons orientated around taking down Superman is because during the initial stages of his infection, after taking down the Justice League, Batman spent some time doing a number on Superman, which feeds into the theme of this figure. The glow in the dark is an excellent additional feature which really brings more value for money with these action figures. It really helps creative storytelling, especially with such a dark character. All of these accessories are generous enough for a $13 to $14 action figure, let alone the inclusion of the 3 mind control masks. These masks are not designed to be used with this Jokerized Batman, but to be used with the other characters and action figures in this line, which is definitely a smart play on creative storytelling again. Mattel's taken a real step towards the Dark Multiverse with this release. This just isn't a repaint or a gimmick variant, it's a Batman rebuilt from the inside, and the sculpt commits to that. The grin isn't slapped on top, it's carved into his own face. That's the kind of detail that tells you that this was designed with the idea in mind, not just the paint scheme. Nothing feels calm here, even the accessories are aggressive. Mattel has packed this figure with an array of weapons which glow in the dark and accessories to help build the narrative of how unstable and dangerous this character is. For me, what makes this one stand out on the shelf, it's not just a purple Batman. It's a genuine attempt to capture the Dark Multiverse tone, hero and villain fused into one body, and back it up with accessories that actually sell the danger, not just the look. If you're building a DC collection and you want something that breaks from the usual roster, this one earns that spot. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Till then, I'll see you next time.